On Garden Invaders today, our mission is to do the full treatment on an abandoned back garden. But will they do it in one day? And welcome to Atherstone, that place that is famous for its Stroke Tuesday annual ball game.
Charlie, catch!
We have not got time for this, mate.
Why is that?
Because we've got work to do.
Oh, yeah, of course. Now, I've done a design, we've got the landscapers, we've got the materials, we've got the greenery, but there's a catch, isn't there?
Yeah, they don't get that greenery until they've answered my horticultural questions.
That's right.
Right, come on, you.
Oh, and we need every plant we can get today.
Today we're invading the Gordon family's garden. Joe and Neil have had their hands full since their young son McKenzie arrived, and they've seen their garden go to seed. The biggest problem is Joe and Neil's complete lack of landscaping know-how. It's time Garden Invaders dug up a gardening masterclass. Neil, Joe, bits of the garden are very nice. This is so romantic.
It is, yes.
You're not convinced.
We like
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, the grapevine.
Yeah.
Sometimes sit out with a glass of wine. It could almost be in the Mediterranean, I feel, and it's a nice summer's evening.
And it looks like something sort of happened with the lawn.
The famous Atherstone crop circles. These we started to sort of cut it out, then other things happened and it sort of got left.
My brother-in-law, he took on the garden as a project for us. He's disabled and he had some things happen in his life, and it meant that he couldn't finish it.
OK.
And then I had McKenzie, and I've never finished anything since.
How old?
He will be 2 at New Year.
Right, so like lots of space and lots of running
Lots
around.
of running, lots
Oh,
of
yes.
climbing, lots of digging.
But that's the thing, isn't it? You know, the kid comes along and you're trying to get the garden done and, you know, it sort of becomes a waste of space unless you do something with it. But, no, I mean, you've got good fences either side, you know, bit of lawn through the middle, not a lot of plants going on.
So what would you like to see from the garden then?
I'd like somewhere that McKenzie could just play, where I can pack him off down the garden and say, play, and where he's safe and where he has fun.
Yeah, and I think something that, because it's quite an old house, that's something that sort of fits in with the character of the house a little bit as well.
So who's doing the physical working then?
Me. I've been there today.
Hey. I thought white was fairly impractical.
Yeah, not the best really.
Gardening. So
Yeah.
you must be answering all the questions.
Yes.
And we're round at a neighbour's house?
Yes, we are.
Come with me then. Good luck, boys.
Win some plants. Oh, that's nice.
It is romantic.
Yeah.
Oh, don't get a kiss. OK, well, I've come up with a plan. Yeah, it's a good space. Yeah, the soil looks pretty good too. There you go. Cheers, Mike. So what we're going to do is put a nice big circular deck at the end there. So we're going to have some stepping stones running through, meandering through the garden down there, so you're using the whole width of it. The space. Cool. And then right at the back, we're going to put a backdrop to screen off the cage, you know, that dodgy bit at the back.
Dodgy bit, yeah.
And down here, have a nice generous lawn, add some geometry so it sort of ties in the space quite well and good with proportion. And this is where Mackenzie's going to really play. I think this is the bit he's going to enjoy, and a sandpit off the side here. And then hopefully lots of plants are going to be one to soften it all up as well. So what do you think Mackenzie's going to think of it? You think he's going to like it?
I think he'll absolutely love it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice one.
Oh.
Cheers, Guy. Yep. Well, there you go. There's your Invader for a Day T-shirt. Look, it says it. Exactly
does.
what it does on the tin, as they say. Right, stick it on, yeah?
Right.
And we get stuck in.
Let's go.
OK.
Well, this is a really sweet garden, isn't it?
It is, it's lovely.
Would you like something like this?
Yes, but with more play.
More play
More
area.
play, yeah.
But lots of plants.
Yes, lots of plants, please.
And we've got lots of plants for you to win.
Yes.
And most of the groups are shrubs. So we've got shrubs here because there's no real structure in your garden, is there? No. So the first group, shrubs, and so's the second group.
OK.
And then we've got some perennials here, which will just give you a bit of colour lower down. And then climbers. Now, you've got lots of fence, haven't you? An awful lot. Some of them which are quite vigorous, so that quickly cover it and won't require much looking after. And then over there, the finishing touches. Fabulous.
Fantastic.
That's not you, that's Neil.
Oh.
Oh, you look worried.
OK. He's worried.
He's worried.
I'm optimistic.
Right, well, that's good. I hope you're really optimistic. Now let's go and look at these
Okay.
shrubs. We've got a mixture of deciduous and evergreen.
Okay.
We've got Choicea tenata, which is quite a nice shrub because it keeps a really round shape to it. It's evergreen and it has white flowers in the spring and early summer. Then that one with the beautiful pink flowers is Spirea, and it's got a variegation on it. This one's called Anthony Waterer, and the variegation's like random. It doesn't get very tall, about 2'6".
Okay.
Sometimes needs trimming back because it goes a bit leggy. And lastly, this one, which is a dogwood, Cornus elba spathii. Now, most dogwoods you grow because of the stems in the winter. They're either yellow or red.
Yeah.
What you want to do, though, after they've been established for a couple of years, is to cut them back hard in the winter,
Okay.
and then they'll reshoot in the spring, and then you'll get those nice, long, elegant stems for the
Okay.
winter.
Okay.
Which oriental form of the Acer family are noted for their vibrant purple and red foliage in autumn? Is it the Californian redwood, Japanese maple, or the Chilean pine?
The Japanese maple.
You didn't even hesitate.
Aces are oriental, aren't they?
Well done, good girl. Joe's
Thank
going to
you.
be happy there. Guy, John's go and get these shrubs, mate.
There's still a few scars of Neil and Joe's garden before, like this path has been left over, but this is going to stay because it's nice and practical and it's pretty solid. But the other things that were here, well, mainly this lawn, has gone, as you can see. It was really uneven, it had different types of grasses in it, loads of weeds, and it's much easier just to lift it and relay it. But what we're going to do is change the shape of this garden quite dramatically. We're going to have an almond-shaped lawn coming through here, so it's a good use of space, it's still very generous. And then from the path, we're going to have stepping stones that are going to meander through. So we're going from left to right. So we're using the width of the garden as well. And then to divide the garden, we're going to put some railway sleepers vertically in the ground to create a nice divide and a visual feature, as they say. But I'm not sure how big they're going to be. I'm going to talk to Neil a bit later about that, because you can have them tall or short, depending on your preference. And then we're going to have this stepping stone path, meandering round to the deck here. Now, this might look square at the moment, but the idea is it's going to be circular at the end of the day. Then at the back, we're going to have a lovely backdrop, set off all the planting and screen off that funny cage.
It's certainly getting breezy, Joe, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Tell me a bit about Atherstone. They have this ball game.
Oh, yes, every Shrove Tuesday.
Right.
The Atherstone ball game. It's centuries old.
And what is it? Is it football?
It's kind of. You
Rugby?
Throw it, kick it, boot it. Whoever gets elbowed out the way in the process, that's fine.
So what's the aim of the game? You've got some round thing that you're chasing.
It kicks off about lunchtime, gets thrown out of the bank window.
So do they try and get the ball from one end of the town to the other?
It gets kicked or thrown from one end of the town to the other, and then at 5 o'clock, whoever's holding the ball at the time is the winner.
Oh, okay.
So you could have had the ball for 4 hours, and somebody takes it off you at 5 o'clock, and you've lost.
And what do you win?
It's the glory,
The
really. Yeah.
glory.
There's a couple of ribbons that are attached to the ball, and you get the ribbons.
Fantastic.
But it's the glory. You can be in the paper. Oh yeah,
Ah.
it's a big thing.
So you might be in the paper if you win all these plants.
Oh yes, I hope so. If I win them all.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Now, we've got some lovely shrubs here, which
Yes.
again, a bit more structure because, as we were saying, your garden lacks shrubbery.
Uh-huh.
Now, I particularly like this one. It's Cotinus grace, and it's quite a vigorous shrub. And it's great because in the spring, the foliage is really, really deep purple.
Right.
As the summer goes on, it goes slightly greener, as you can see here. But then in the autumn, it goes bright, reddy scarlet, orange colours.
Lovely.
And then down there, we've got Potentilla fruticosa, and that one's called Goldfinger, because it's got those bright buttercup yellow flowers. And the wonderful thing about the Potentillas, or which are known as cinquefoils, is they flower from midsummer right the way through to September. And then we've got Fatsia japonica, grown for its big, glossy, lush leaves that almost look tropical. A lot of people grow it inside a conservatory.
Yeah. My gran had a massive one.
Oh,
I
right.
seem to remember us, massive in her house.
In the house, was
Yeah.
it? Yeah. They do well inside or outside, in partial shade or full sun. So would you like these, would you?
Yes, I'd like these. Yes, please.
All you got to do is get the question right.
Okay.
What's the most usual colour of the flowers on the herb chives? Are they yellow, white, or mauve?
I haven't got a clue. Yellow.
Are you sure about that?
No, white.
Are you sure about that?
No, I'll go with yellow then. It's my first one, wasn't it? Yellow.
Unfortunately, you're wrong. No, they're mauve.
Oh, well, at least I didn't torment myself because I was nearly there.
No,
He's got it completely wrong.
Yes, they're mauve. You think about them. If your gran used to grow fatsia, I'm sure she'd grow chives.
No, she didn't. She was terrible now.
Remember the back of the garden, that ugly cage? You can see it so obviously. Well, you can't see it now, can you? Look, hey? Willow screens, they're brilliant for hiding anything. And we've got 2 of them here set into wooden posts that have got concrete in the bottom. And they're really nice and solid. And we're going to put another panel here. So what we're going to do is walk through, be able to get to the back here, but visually it's still screened from the house, which is very important. And it's great for the back of the garden because it also sets off all the planting in front of it. And here we're going to have a deck, a circular deck, so there's actually going to be somewhere to come and sit at the end of the garden, because before you come down here and go straight back up again, nowhere to go. And I think, Dave, I've been a bit of a problem, haven't I, mate?
Yeah.
Circular deck, I mean, wood, straight bits of wood, making them round.
Mate.
How easy is
You've
that?
given me a bit of a headache, but what we did in the end, went for a modular approach, square frame, and then tagged on some triangles onto each side.
Right.
So,
okay.
the circular deck that'll be on top doesn't overhang the deck frame too far.
Yeah.
Because if it does, it'll be flexible and it'll be bendy on the edges, and we don't want that. But the other problem, which you saw this morning when we arrived, they sent us kiln-dried roofing grade timber,
right,
which we've had to treat ourselves.
Oh, well, what did you do? Take it out for dinner?
Yeah, I bought a little posh tress as well.
Oh, the old invader gags are the best, aren't they?
Wheel them out, wheel them out.
Yeah.
So all I've got left to do then is a little decking screw in the middle.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of string line and a pencil and a jigsaw.
Right.
Whip the edges off and you should get the perfect circle that you
The perfect
desire.
circle, because I like a bit of geometry in a garden. So there's geometry here, there's geometry in the lawn, but there's movement, but it's sort of making sense of the space.
That's designer speak. I don't understand what you're saying.
I just say make a circular deck and you go, oh, can't we make it square? All right, I'll leave you to it, man.
Catch you later.
See ya.
Joe, a little bird told me something about a banker, a butcher and half a pound of liver. What's all that about?
How Neil wooed me.
Sorry?
Well, I was the first cashier in the bank and Neil was a butcher boy at the time. He heard me saying to one of my other cashiers that my dad had cooked us lamb's liver the night before. Oh, I love liver. And so I served him and off he went. And the next day when he came in, he bought me a bag of lamb's liver. Isn't that sweet?
That's very sweet.
Aww.
Well, this group of plants, they're all perennials, so they'll all die down in the winter and come back up in the spring. We've got Hosta Royal Standard. It's a scented hosta and it's got these very luscious green leaves, and it's quite good at ground cover because it makes like a mat during the summer, spring and summer. And this is a Juga reptans and it's called Caitlin Giant. And it's got these big purple-green leaves and gets these great big spikes of flowers. And it's great because, again, it's ground cover and it creeps all over, so it's good for going through paving or stepping stones.
Lovely.
And then lastly, a fern. This fern is Polysticum congestum, and it means that the leaves are all sort of squashed together and congested. Really rich green, and the fronds sort of arch over, and it makes quite a big, low clump. Here we go. What do you call the method of propagation from clump-forming plants by splitting them into sections with roots and shoots? Is it layering, division, or renovation?
I think it's division. Dividing. Division.
It would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yes.
You're right.
Hey!
Hey! That's good. I'm going to go and see Joe.
Okay.
You stand in the sun
I
and
will.
get warm, love.
Thank you, thank you.
So how's your gardening know-how? Want to test it out with some horticultural brain teasers? Go onto the BBC Garden Invaders website and you could win some goodies. Well, that looks fantastic, Joe.
Coming on, isn't it, nicely?
It's very good,
Yeah?
very good.
How are the plants doing?
I was hoping you weren't going to talk about that too much.
Why? What do you mean?
Well,
Nice, Ajugas, beautiful.
the big shrubs.
Yes.
You didn't really want them, did you?
No, listen, I'm not trying to be funny, we really need them. This is a massive
Too
garden.
late, she's lost them bad luck. Anyhow,
No,
moving on. So,
Charlie.
there's no Charlie.
No, Charlie.
No, stop it.
No, I'm not taking no for an answer today because we need them, right? This is a big
Unfortunately,
garden.
you are.
There's a lot of hard structure. We've completely cleared it. We've got to put some
Well, you
stuff
should
back
have
in,
thought about that
especially
before,
big shrubs.
shouldn't you?
Couldn't you?
No. So you've got your lawn going here.
Yeah,
What's
we've
going
got
on
the lawn
here?
Going here.
Put some effort into it.
Sorry,
Cheer up.
I'm grumpy now.
Yeah.
Lawn's going here, path's going there, sleepers there, deck at the back. Look, we've done a good job screening the cage at the back.
I have to say,
It set off some big shrubs beautifully, wouldn't it?
God, you're like a broken record, you are.
Oh, no, I don't stop.
I think I'm going to go and talk to Neil.
Till I win. Uah.
You've got no hope, sunshine. God, Neil, isn't he grumpy?
It certainly is, yeah.
just because-
Grumpy old man.
Yeah, just because your
yeah.
lovely wife didn't quite get every question right.
I
But,
know. I
you
still
know,
love her.
Yeah. Oh, you're so sweet.
Oh, no, thank you.
So what have you been up to then?
Oh, really busy. Got rid of all the really nasty old turf, rotavated soil, raked it over. Nice.
So the invaders haven't been doing anything at all?
No,
You've
no,
been
I'm
doing
just
everything.
sitting around drinking my tea.
I'm sure they haven't been. Right, well, I'll go back and see if there's a bit more joy on the plant front.
Lovely.
Joe,
Yes.
you're not in Joe's good books for not winning those shrubs.
Yeah,
He's
I know.
Not very happy about that.
I'm not overly thrilled myself.
But it's okay, because you can redeem yourself and get this next question right.
Yeah.
All for these climbers, and we've got some really nice climbers here. We've got Parthenocyssus cuspidata. Now, the one thing to remember about that Virginia creeper is it is rampant. So if you're going to put it on a house,
Yeah.
you will be trimming around the windows so you can see out in the summer. Then we've got a variegated ivy. The one thing about ivies is you can grow them up walls, which is great, but you can also use them for ground cover because they sort of cover quite a large area, and they're evergreen, so it really does stop weeds from coming up. And this one's called Citrina, and it's got these lovely lemon pea flowers. It's actually sort of shrub come climbing plant. It scrabbles up through wires. Now the question is about climbers, and it's a horticultural question. We've got 3 different climbers. We've got a vine, a jasmine and a clematis. Now what I want you to tell me is which one likes to be planted slightly deeper in the soil with its roots in the shade and its head in the sun.
Clematis? Yeah?
You don't want to be in Joe's bad books, do you?
No, please no. And I really want my fence covered.
You're right.
Oh, thank you. Hurrah!
Hurrah! The stress of the questions is over, but now you've got your own little project to
Yes.
do.
Okay.
Well, it's typical. It's all going so smoothly, and now Joe hasn't won the big shrubs, and this is the part of the garden where I really need them because they're going to help with the divide from one area to the other. And I've put these railway sleepers in that are looking great, vertical into the ground, and they stagger from low up into the high ones over there, and they're also sort of sweeping through the garden. Now, a long, thin garden like this, it's good to divide it up a little bit, otherwise you see the whole thing in one go. If you've got a huge garden, keep dividing it up, compartmentalise the space. So these are good because they're not a solid barrier, but they do help visually to break it up a bit, but they need plants around it, so I'm really grumpy about that. And over here you see, Dave's finishing off, and look, we've got 2 spirit levels on 1 sleeper. That's what I call precision.
Joe, all the stress of questions is over.
Okay.
And I've got a nice, easy little task. We want you to make a ladybird home. So ladybirds in the winter, they need somewhere that's nice and warm, so insulated, and dry.
Okay.
Logs, really good. I want you to put a little roof on it and drill lots of holes in it so they can all crawl in there and they'll be fine from the frost. Yeah, so you've got wood, you've got drills, chop saws,
Okay.
and an invader.
Hurrah!
Right, Joe, I've got a question for you, okay?
Yes, yes.
Who wrote Beethoven's Fifth? Was it A, Beethoven, B, Sibelius, or C, Tchaikovsky?
Beethoven.
Correct! Oh, fantastic!
Oh, my favourite.
Yes, France! Oh, you got some plants, guys?
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, no! Hey, no! Hey, she won these fair and square.
No, she did not. She got the question wrong.
She got it right. I asked her another question. And she got it right. Excellent.
cheat.
Big shrubs for the garden. Anyway, right, I've got a project for you.
Don't you waggle your finger at me.
I'm
eh?
not waggling your finger at
No.
me. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Right, listen, project, okay? Yeah, for McKenzie. yeah? A little sandpit, yeah, my kids love sandpits. Okay, we need a sandpit, got some railway sleevers left over out the front. I think sand down the edges because they're a little bit rough, yeah? Just to go over there, so with some lovely big shrub planting around it, set it off nicely. Yeah, can I leave you to it?
I don't know. You've got lots of invaders. Why should I do anything for you?
That's your job. The most practical family garden service is the lawn. And here there was a rubbish lawn, so we've replaced it and we've laid it properly, we've raked it all out and we've compacted the surface and trodden it all in and raked it out again and levelled it nicely. And then the turf turned up, and it isn't the most amazing turf, has to be said. It's gone a little bit yellow. That's because it's been rolled up. They haven't cut any fresh turf for the last couple of days, but it'll be absolutely fine. A bit of water, it'll get its roots down and it'll go green in no time. Now the shape of the lawn, we've gone for this sort of almond shape, which is quite a dynamic shape in the garden. This is actually based on pure geometry. Guy worked it out with a calculator. It's a very complicated calculation, but it looks great, and that's the main thing. Now down here, the existing path was sort of going nowhere at all, so we picked it up from there, but what we've done is put this sort of stepping stone affair in, and it's dragging across here, giving the garden real direction and bringing it around here, rather than just a straight path down one side. Boring, forget it. So here we've got some movement coming around here and then through these sleepers. And of course it's going somewhere now because it's got the deck to go to. Now Dave, you built this path.
I have.
It's a solid little number.
It's a work of art, isn't it?
It is fantastic, yeah. So have you laid it? Because you're doing all the haunching. Why do we always have to haunch everything?
Well, it's important just because if the muck gets underneath the slab when it comes to there,
yeah,
and a big heavy lad like yourself was to step on there, that slab would lift up. It's just to make sure that there's no air at all under the slab.
Right. So you seem to spend hours haunching.
Hours?
Yeah, hours and hours.
Hours and hours.
But you don't actually see the edge of it, do you, when it's all finished?
No, it's going to be covered in mud.
What do you think? Like it?
It's all right. Well, you left me to my own devices, I think.
Yeah, I know.
I did all right, didn't I?
I drew a line in the mud and left it to you. It's looking good.
Crazy. It's brave stuff.
Yeah, cheers, Dave.
Okay, now that should have taken off any sharp edges off of the sleepers. So this is the frame for the sandpit. Put down some bonded fibre. Now this soil around here is very porous, but if you're on a heavy soil, you want to put a layer of gravel down first, then the bonded fibre, and then your play sand. And play sand is special sand. It's very clean, designed specifically to go into sandpits, and it doesn't leave any stains on your clothes.
All done? Great, all done. It's great. And not too much help. Thank you.
Joe tells me you're a bit of a musician on the side now. In actual fact, quite a famous musician.
Oh, I've had my moments in the past, yeah. We've been on telly a couple of times with various bands. I love it, I love music. I'm still playing, writing music. I'm in a band at the moment, so yeah, it's all good.
So it's going to be great for when Sir grows up a bit more. Are you sort of training him to be a drummer?
Oh, definitely, most definitely.
Now, most parents go bonkers when you give a young child a drum kit.
Yeah, his mum probably will, but I need a drummer, you see, a good drummer. It's hard to get good drummers nowadays, so we'll have him on playing the drums.
Now we've got some really nice sun lounges here with cushions on, table candles, even a vase full of lilies.
Lovely, very romantic.
Now I hear you're looking forward to this question.
Yeah, like my maths exam.
What name is given to the central structure of sweet corn on which the grains are set in rows? Is it the husk, the pod, or the cob?
Ooh, I'm not a betting man, but I'd probably put my money on cob.
Is that because when you eat sweet corn?
Corn on the cob.
You're right.
Yes! Hey!
There we go.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you. Now you are finished in the garden, so I want you to go inside, no talking to Jo.
Okay.
And don't tell her anything, all right?
Lovely.
Off you go.
Thank you.
In a garden like this, we're looking for some big shrubs because there's nothing really in it, you know. So deciduous shrubs like this are perfect. This is Cotinus grace. It's going to get quite large, but it's all about foliage, this plant. It's got fabulous big leaves, and they start off green in the spring. They've got an amazing sort of purpley, pinky stripe right down the middle, and then in the autumn, they go an intense orangey red. It's absolutely fantastic. And look, even the stem here is an amazing colour too. So it's going to get quite big. You can cut it back whenever you want. Doddle to look after, but it's going to create some real impact. Put it near the house, good depth of field, put some plants near the house, and the garden's going to feel so much bigger. In a small garden, we're also looking for shrubs that are going to perform, and this potentilla goldfinger is going to do exactly that job. It's going to flower all the way from June until late September, and fabulous flowers, really bright, cheery flowers that kids love. And it creates a nice dome-shaped plant. It's deciduous, so it will drop its leaves, but it's really good value for money.
So this morning, Jo, when we turned up, describe what your garden was like.
It was long and boring and dull.
Would you like to open your eyes? No, what do you mean no?
Oh my god, it's fantastic. Oh, it's perfect. Did you win that furniture?
I certainly did. Only just.
So that's for Mackie, yeah?
Yeah, it's a big sandpit, but then the top goes on and it's hard, so he can sit on it and play with his...
And the cats can't use it as a toilet.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, so it doesn't get too wet either.
Oh, I love it. I could never have done it in a million years. It's fantastic.
And you won all the plants.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Tiny.
Because it really packs it out. It feels, you know, it's going to fill out, you
Thank
know.
God I won all of them.
I know.
Phew.
Every single group.
Oh, it's just lovely. I love it. I can't quite believe it.
I honestly can't believe it's all been done in a day. They've worked so hard. And sterling work as well. Really, you know, it's been tough, but it proof's in the pudding. It's there. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, there's loads of space in that garden, aren't there?
Yeah, it's a good little garden,
I
that.
see McKenzie playing a bit of football, running around.
Yeah,
Loads of space.
perfect for ball games. You know, speaking of ball games, you know that Atherstone game, that funny ball game thing? How does it start then?
Well, what happens is someone throws the ball out the window.
Yeah? Wait!
And then-
Hey!